The Japanese automotive industry is rapidly sliding into what experts are calling the largest crisis in 6 decades. For years, brands like Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Mazda, and Subaru symbolize Japan's economic miracle, renowned for flawless engineering, legendary reliability, and meticulous technological standards. Today, however, these once dominant automakers are facing a perfect storm of global pressures. The first blow came from new American tariffs under the Trump administration, which disrupted not only export flows but also entire production structures. According to Nikkei Asia, these duties forced Japanese companies to revise production plans, cut model lineups, and adopt strict cost-saving measures. The Financial Times notes that decades of trade stability with the United States, Japan's primary car market, were effectively dismantled. Supply chains, logistics, and production schedules have been thrown into chaos, with diplomatic efforts failing to restore the previous equilibrium. But tariffs are only part of the problem. Japan's domestic market is shrinking due to demographic shifts. An aging population, decreasing interest in car ownership among younger generations, and growing urbanization make personal vehicles increasingly unnecessary. The Ministry of Economy reports that domestic new car sales have fallen to levels last seen in the late 1980s. Asahi Shimbun stresses that this decline reflects a structural change in consumer behavior, not a temporary dip. With both domestic and international markets under mounting pressure, Japan's once unshakable automotive industry is facing a crossroads. Global competition is intensifying, and shifting consumer preferences are forcing Japanese automakers to rethink their strategies. Japanese auto giants now face unprecedented vulnerability, just as China steps confidently onto the global stage, ready to capitalize on every opportunity. According to the South China Morning Post, this shift is no accident. Beijing has long studied the weaknesses of Japan's export-dependent model, analyzing every aspect of its reliance on overseas markets and the risks that come with it. One glaring vulnerability is Japan's underdeveloped domestic battery industry, which has struggled to keep pace with the rapid advancements seen elsewhere. Meanwhile, China has methodically built a massive industrial ecosystem, encompassing everything from rare earth mineral extraction to advanced battery production, electric vehicle platforms, and cutting-edge autonomous driving systems. This network extends to highly efficient supply chains, robust logistics, and even large-scale recycling operations, ensuring sustainability and resource security. By controlling the majority of the global supply chain for electric vehicles and batteries, China has gained a powerful strategic advantage. Today, China has positioned itself as an indispensable hub for countries lacking domestic battery infrastructure, shaping the future of the global automotive industry. Bloomberg notes that China views Japan's crisis as a historic opportunity to extend its influence across the Asia-Pacific region and gain access to Japanese technology, production, and logistics networks. Reuters reports that Chinese companies are, quietly expanding in Southeast Asia, offering Japanese automakers joint production, technology partnerships, and operational alliances. Experts warn that while Japanese brands retain their names and logos, actual technological control is shifting to Beijing, a process described as, absorption without purchase. NHK highlights Japanese concerns over growing Chinese activity in Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia, where key assembly lines for Toyota, Honda, and Nissan are located. Analysts from the East Asia Economic Forum suggest that controlling these regional hubs could allow China to dominate the entire production cycle, from components to final assembly. The Economist outlines China's three-stage strategy: create dependence on battery technology, offer joint platform collaboration, and then expand influence in external production centers. Internal government documents published by the Japan Times underscore the gravity of the threat. Beijing could gain control of the Japanese automotive industry without owning a single factory on Japanese soil, simply by controlling logistics, supply chains, and regional production hubs. Meanwhile, Chinese companies like BYD, SAIC, and others dominate battery manufacturing, electric platforms, and affordable EV production. Japanese automakers, still heavily invested in hybrids and hydrogen technologies, are lagging behind in global electrification. Model refresh cycles highlight this gap further. China introduces new EV models every 8 to 12 months, while Japanese companies take 3 to 5 years to update lineups. Official Chinese media, including Xinhua and Global Times, are already declaring the end of Japanese automotive leadership and China's rise as Asia's new technological center. A statement reflecting not propaganda, but strategic confidence rooted in infrastructure, resources, and vision. China is now advancing into the next phase of its industrial and economic strategy, moving beyond simple manufacturing to a more integrated global approach. State-backed funds are driving the creation of joint technological hubs, where collaboration is not just encouraged but required. Japanese companies in particular must now integrate with these hubs if they want continued access to essential batteries and high-tech components. Analysts describe this phenomenon as economic gravity, a force that draws companies and entire industries into China's orbit. Over time, this gravity is expected to evolve into comprehensive control over the global automotive sector. Over the past 2 years, China has steadily increased pressure on rare earth supply chains, tightening its grip on these critical resources that are vital for electric vehicles and advanced electronics. The country has also rapidly expanded battery production clusters in Chongqing, turning the region into a powerhouse for next-generation energy storage. Similar growth is seen in Guangdong and Anhui, where new factories and research centers are accelerating innovation and output. At the same time, China has invested heavily in Southeast Asian logistics hubs, which now handle nearly 40% of Japanese automotive components, making these supply routes more efficient but also more dependent on Chinese oversight. By gaining influence over ports, shipping lines, microchip suppliers, and power electronics factories, China is weaving a complex web of control that extends far beyond its borders. Through these strategic moves, Beijing is building a vast network that makes Japanese companies and the global automotive industry increasingly dependent on its decisions and direction for the future. In Tokyo, the question is no longer whether China will take control of Japan's automotive sector, but rather how soon this transformation will occur and what shape it will ultimately take. The landscape is shifting rapidly, with partnerships, investments, and technology transfers accelerating the pace of change. With each passing month, the risk grows that Japanese automakers will see not only their technologies and production capabilities, but also their strategic direction, increasingly shaped by decisions made far beyond their own borders. The future of Japan's once unrivaled automotive industry may soon be determined in Beijing, as Chinese influence expands into every facet of the sector. If this trajectory continues unchecked, it will mark an unprecedented event in modern industrial history. A nation long synonymous with innovation and automotive excellence, gradually ceding its leadership to its most powerful neighbor and watching its legacy redefined. What is unfolding is more than a crisis. It is a historic shift, a turning point that will be studied for generations to come. This moment signals not just the end of Japan's era of industrial dominance, but also the beginning of a new chapter in global competition. As China rises to the top of the global automotive and technological hierarchy, the world watches a profound realignment, one that will reshape the industry, economies, and the very future of mobility itself.